Despite me being a person that's practically always a year behind, I do try to keep track of what's going on in the upcoming gaming scene. There's always some new fun games coming, and there's especially always some sleeper hits, so I decided to make a quick video to highlight a couple of games coming out this year. Now, I'm not a super fan of TMNT or anything, but I remember playing the NES beat-em-up years ago, and when I saw TMNT Shredder's Revenge, I basically did the Leo DiCaprio point and went, "Oh, hey, I know that." But wow, it looks so fluid and good, and you can do combo attacks with the other turtles. That's awesome. I couldn't believe this game just popped out of nowhere and it looked this good. But then I saw that this was made by Tribute, the same people who made Mercenary Kings and Flint Hook. No wonder this pixel art is fantastic. They're masters at their craft. And .emu? The people who made Streets of Rage 4? Oh, we are definitely in good hands here. And April? You could play as April O'Neil beating up the Foot Fetish Clan? Alright, yep, that's all I need. Ready to buy it. Just give me a date and I'll give you the money. So the company that used to make Rune Factory went bankrupt, and it was a sad day when it happened. But luckily, Marvelous was there to take them in and put them to work making Lord of Magna Made in Heaven. But after that, Rune Factory 4 Special. But after that, we finally are going to get Rune Factory 5. Rune Factory 5. I never thought I'd see the day. For those of you that know nothing about these games, basically combine Harvest Moon, or Story of Seasons, with an action RPG dungeon crawler where you can befriend the monsters you fight. It's fun, chill, relaxing, and you can even marry one of the villagers of your town. And we're finally getting same-sex relationships. Took them long enough, but at least it's here. The franchise may have almost died, but it's back, and I couldn't be more happy. Kirby has been in a little bit of a rut. Ever since Return to Dreamland, all the mainline games seem to just take that formula and add something to it with each game. Each game was fun, of course, but it was clear that some people found it to be a bit stale. But now, we're getting it. That breath of new life in the series, and it's coming in the form of something that no one thought this franchise would ever do. A full-on 3D Kirby game. Kirby and the Forgotten Land looks to be bringing the good old Kirby gameplay into that forbidden dimension, and having a grand old time with it. It's especially neat to see how the powers affect the terrain and world itself. I can only hope that it's used pretty creatively to solve puzzles and the like, and not just be another way to deal with enemies. But either way, it's another Kirby game. Nothing much else to say. So this game's been flying under the radar a bit, but I gotta give mention to Monark. This here is a strategy-like game with a dark, sleek aesthetic, directed by Kazunari Suzuki and Aya Nishitani. Do those names sound familiar? Yes, the scenario writer for SMT 1 and 2, and the man who wrote the original Digital Devil Story novels are making a spiritual successor to SMT If. And even though strategy games are a weird genre for me, you know, there are games I can vibe with and other games I sadly can't, I still want to see what these two and their team have in store because, well, they're the people who had a hand in making one of my favorite franchises. Of course I'm gonna see what these weirdos are still getting into. Bloodborne. Oh. No, not that Bloodborne. This Bloodborne. YouTube user Lilith Walther has been in the process of demaking Bloodborne for a while now, and it's finally close to being released. Now obviously they aren't demaking the entire game. According to them, it goes all the way up to Father Gascoigne, which might sound a tad short, but first, this is being made by one person, lower your expectations a bit. And second, they have said that they're expanding the areas and adding some post-game content as well. So it will end up being a nice and neat little game to fool around with and have fun with. Bloodborne is a fantastic game in itself, so putting a chunk of it in a PS1 aesthetic just for fun is right up my alley. Final Fantasy is an odd duck for me. I don't tend to vibe with most of the main series, but its weird offshoots and spin-offs tend to be the game I always like looking into. So a reimagining of the first game, done by the Ninja Gaiden and Neo devs, featuring a bunch of dudes and one gal pal hanging out, beating up monsters, saving crystals, and wanting to kill chaos in such a hilariously primal and single-minded stance. It's basically taking an NES level mentality and throwing it at a game nowadays and changing nothing. Yeah, of course I'm excited for this game. It's the most video game I've seen in years. Not trying to push itself as a serious Grammy award-winning cinematic experience, but instead asks you to walk out of that hot topic, run up this castle, and tell Chaos he can suck eggs. But yeah, what else can you say except chaos?
Chaos. Chaos.
Chaos.
Sifu. Now this one has a great premise. You're a kung fu guy who's getting revenge on the people who murder his parents, and each time you get your keister kicked, you can revive at the cost of aging, with the cost of reviving going up more and more with each death. You'll eventually become an elderly man beating the tar out of these thugs, but around this point, you lose the ability to revive anymore and can end up dying if you continue to fail. This sounds really fun, and the fact that you'll be gaining experience through all these fights and able to unlock more moves makes it sound very replayable as well. Trying to beat the game with the lowest age possible or even without dying once sounds a lot of fun. Maybe it can have some unlockable modes too, like one that gives you all the moves but makes it so that you can't revive at all. Just an idea, spitballing here. But yeah, it's a unique idea, looks fun, and has some depth to it. Hoping it turns out good. Jet Set Radio is one of those series where some people might be very well acquainted with it, but never have actually played it. This is primarily due to the fact that the first game was Dreamcast only for 12 years. 2012 comes around, and it gets ported onto most of the current consoles at the time, but not again since. Then there's the case of its sequel, Jet Set Radio Future, being stuck on the original Xbox forever. Mainly due to legal issues so messy it would make the lawyer who helped get Earthbound on the Wii U have a stroke. But now we have this, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, made by Team Reptile, a Dutch development team who previously made that sport ball fighting game. Deciding that they would fill the void in our hearts with a funky, stylistic successor that just oozes, well, style. Games of this type are pretty simple. You ride around, you do tricks, you tag buildings and other architecture, you get assaulted by the government because graffiti is apparently one of the worst crimes you could ever commit, and you jam out to great music. They even got Hideki Naganuma back at it again to do a couple tracks for the game. But it's not all just a retread. The biggest thing that stands out is the ability to ride on bikes and skateboards, not just roller skates, which probably operate the same fundamentally, but it's just always nice to have the option. Either way, this is gearing up to be something Jet Set fans have been waiting for over a decade. Let's hope it turns out to be something we truly can't get enough of. Now for the lightning round. Windjammers 2. It took like 3 years, but it's finally coming out, thank goodness. Sea of Stars. Do you like Chrono Trigger? Because this game is Chrono Trigger. It looks really good. I hope it's a lot of fun. Phantom Breaker Omnia. It's a fighting game that looks pretty cool and fun. King of Fighters 15. It's a fighting game that looks pretty cool and fun. DNF Duel. It's a fighting game that looks pretty cool and fun. Star Ocean: The Divine Force. It's a fighting game. I'm gonna stop now, I'm sorry. I may not have had a lot of experience with this franchise yet, but this new entry does look pretty interesting. My only hope is that its big open world isn't going to be as empty as it looks in trailers. Chocobo GP. It's Chocobo racing back from the dead in classic arcade racing form. What's not to love? Elden Ring. It's a game by From Software. It's guaranteed to be at least decent. Babylon's Fall. I honestly forgot this game was a thing, and I was shocked to see it's coming out in March. But yeah, Platinum Games making another action game. Slap their logo on anything and I'm probably gonna try it out. River City Girls 2. I loved the first River City Girls a whole lot, so a sequel that's gonna give us more beat-em-up goodness, more characters to play as, more of this charming aesthetic, and more wacky adventures is absolutely gonna be on my radar. I don't really have a lot of hopes besides it being good, so here's hoping it accomplishes that with flying colors. Finally, we have Bayonetta 3, because of course we do. It's a game we've been waiting for a while, and to see it finally have some gameplay footage, with Bayo looking great in her new design, the gameplay looking just as refined and fun, and this new hair kaiju battle system continuing to showcase why Platinum are a bunch of crazy goobers who want to make some enjoyably over-the-top games, I can't think of a better game for you guys to keep an eye on than Bayonetta 3. Also, nice fake out there of Lappy. Though that does beg the question of if there's a Platinum verse at all? Probably not, but it's a fun thought. Either way, that just about does it for this video. 2021 was a great year for games. Here's hoping 2022 is just as good, if not better. Thank you all so much for watching, be safe out there. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.